What's going on, guys? So, I'm actually really happy about these next few episodes. Well, videos that I'm going to make. They're going to be episodes, they're going to be linked together. I'm going to break down everything about metabolism from protein, fats, and carbs, how they're all linked together, how you can, how a trained and untrained individual can um, maximize on fat metabolism more than an untrained individual. We're going to get into lactic acid and that it's not an enemy. I'm going to break down everything for you guys scientifically with facts, how it actually happens in your body, so you guys can understand once and for all, not all this bro science bullshit. I want you guys to really understand. And yeah, I want you guys to really get it for yourselves, so then you guys don't need other people telling you shit. You know what to do, you know how it works. And just, I find it's a good knowledge for everyone to have, just like riding a bike, right? You need to learn certain things, riding a bike, doing simple math. This is one of the fundamental things that we should learn that we don't, but I'm gonna show you right now. All right, so let's get into it right now.
So before we get into the main purpose of this video, which is about protein, I want to explain to you guys 3 different physiological facts that I think you guys should really understand. And throughout this series of episodes that I'm going to post, I'm going to show you how they all tie in together. So this first one is called the Fick equation. It's the explanation of how much O2 can be delivered to the working muscle group using cardiac output and the amount of O2 that enters the arterial side, as well as how much oxygen is utilized and exits the venous side. This equation really helps you understand the difference in trained and untrained individuals of how they're able to utilize more oxygen to perform better. This next one is called RQ. It's respiratory quotient. It's the explanation of how your body utilizes fat and carbs as energy, dependent on the duration of time that you're training, as well as the intensity. So typically, when you guys first start working out, you're always going to use your carb stores. You never ever are going to use 100% carbs and 100% fats. It's always usually around an 80-20 split, and it could vary from there. Typically, in the beginning of training, you're going to deplete your carb stores at around 2 hours of a 70% VO2 max training around. And then as that time keeps going, you guys are going to resort to fat stores because your carb stores have been depleted, as you can see in the graph that I wrote here. This last one, before I jump right into protein, is metabolic conversion. I really want you guys to look at this graph and understand it. Not too much. I'm going to go into it as the series continue, but this is the explanation of how fats, carbs, and amino acids, protein, are all linked together and how they provide you with energy. So fats, as you can see here, I wrote that it can go to acetyl-CoA. So fats are triglycerides. They get broken down. You have a glycerol and 3 fatty acids attached to that fat. So they can go to acetyl-CoA. They can also produce ketone bodies, but we'll get into that later. Carbs can be broken down into pyruvate, which will then go to acetyl-CoA as well to produce energy. And protein can be broken down into glycine to go straight to acetyl-CoA, or can find the other mechanism, and alanine can be broken down to pyruvate and go into Krebs cycle. Everything to produce energy will go to Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle is the main part of how you will deliver the hydrogen atoms that are available to go through the electron transport chain. Again, I will explain all this to you guys in a later episode. Now, to hit for protein, you have 2 types. You have non-essential amino acids and you have essential amino acids. Okay? Very simple. Essential amino acids are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Those are the ones that you guys can consume. There's more. I'm just giving you guys 3 of them here. The non-essential amino acids are alanine and glutamate. These you cannot consume in foods. This is what your body will make. Now, here's a liver. It kind of looks like a water gun, but bear with me. My drawings aren't amazing, but you get the concept. So you have your liver here. You have the non-essential amino acid alanine that will get broken down and cleaved of its NH2 group, okay? The NH2 group is usually called urea, okay? Your body can throw this out of the system through urination or through sweat as intensities increase. The formation of glucose from protein is called glucogenesis, okay? Alanine can be broken down to pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon sugar the pyruvate can be broken down and, well, broken down. You can make glucose, which is a 6-carbon sugar, that can exit your liver through an enzyme called glucose 6-phosphatase. That will go into your bloodstream and travel to the working muscle. So here I'm going to explain to you guys exactly how it does that. Another diagram that I'm explaining is the link between how your urea, NH2, that urea that we have, will increase depending on if you're carb depleted, carb full, or at rest. So here you can see in my graph that if you're carb depleted, you're really going to resort to protein as energy, because alanine, like I explained before, can turn into pyruvate, which is a protein. It's part of glycolysis. Again, glycolysis is just a cycle of glucose being used, glycogen being used to go into energy. So if you're carb depleted, you're going to be breaking down those protein stores, which you really don't want to do. Now, to get into the alanine glucose cycle. So as I explained before, this is how alanine is used in the body to produce glucose, to go to the working muscle, and back around to the liver to produce more glucose. It's a whole cycle, it's a circle. Here's my muscle fiber that I'm drawing for you guys, okay? Amino acids will enter the muscle fiber with insulin. They get cleaved of their NH2 group, okay? This is for the process of making more glucose. So as glucose gets broken down into the muscle fiber, the amino acid getting cleaved of its NH2 group, those two molecules will add together to pyruvate, right? You have the NH2 group that I added right here. You have pyruvate. The addition of these two will make alanine. Like I showed you guys before, alanine can enter the liver, get cleaved of an NH2 group, produce pyruvate, go back to glucose, re-enter the bloodstream, and that whole cycle can continue. Some of the normal facts that everyone would like to know. Protein stores are really dependent on exercise, nutrition, and stress levels. They're mainly dependent on your nutrition. Like I explained before, if you exercise and you don't have enough carbs, you're going to be breaking down protein, not storing them. If you have a lack of protein in your diet, your body's going to utilize glucose and fats to turn into protein. Like I showed you guys before, all of them is linked, right? In that first graph at the beginning of the video. And stress levels will break down fats as well. If you're stressed, your cortisol levels will rise, and then that will break down protein. Now, how much should you have? What do I take, so you guys can get a base of how much I consume? And lastly, other proteins better than others. This is specifically for people that are vegan and others that say that vegans don't consume the right amount of protein or amino acid chain to provide them with the muscle building protein that they need. How much should you guys consume? You should consume around 20 to 25% of your total calories should come from protein. That should equate to around 1.2 to 1.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. Again, 1.8 is a very high number. I suggest sticking closer to the 1.2 number. 1.8 would be more if you're training 2 to 3 times a day of high cardio plus weightlifting, or just a mix of it all. Too much protein will equal fat stores. Again, I explained this in the diagram in the beginning with how everything is linked together. Too much protein, you'll store fat. You want the right amount, which is what I just gave you guys. Now, I'm currently 210. I consume about 20% of my calories come from protein, which equates to 100 to 125 grams around when I'm off camp. So, I hope that was helpful, guys. I really wanted you guys to understand just a little more of a base of how protein works in your body, and not just looking at facts online and everything and you don't know what's right, what's wrong. I've done that. I want you guys to see in the diagrams how it works. This is just a little bit. I'm not going to give you guys a whole explanation of how that all happens, but now you guys get an idea of how protein works, how much you should have, how much is too much. That should be a good base for you guys to start. The whole point of this episode and episodes I'm going to be making and into a series is I didn't have this when I was a kid. I had all the bro science. I had people telling me different things that they were somewhat right and wrong, and I kept doing this and I didn't know. And it's only when I started learning more, reading more, going into the program that I am in now, which is a very, very great program, understanding, doing more research on my own, doing a research and gonna be doing a thesis on how the wow, I can't speak right now. I'm a snake. I'm a snake. How physiological things happen throughout the body, whether it be through macronutrients, whether it be for your cardiovascular system. These are all things that tie in together, which again is in the first diagram that I wrote, the Fick equation. How oxygen is utilized in the body really equates to how much fat you're burning, how well you could train, how higher you can, like the intensity of training that you can achieve through a better cardiovascular system. That all ties in together. So if you're just lifting in the gym, you're not doing cardio to aid you. Yeah, you're getting gains, but you're not utilizing the maximum capability that you could be achieving. So this is the whole point of this, guys. I'm sorry for the rant. I just really want you guys to understand that I'm here to help. I'm an athlete as well, so I'm still learning everything. Whatever I learn, I want to share with you guys so you guys can have the facts. If you want to know the books that I read, the papers that I've researched, leave a comment down below, down here. I'll post it for you guys so you can have it. The book is very expensive. It's like a $300 book, but it's part of my course curriculum that I need to read. So you guys can have that. Click the bell, okay, so you get notified every time I make the video, especially for these series that I'm going to be posting. I want you guys to have them. Lastly, 'cause I'm a snack. That's it, guys. Until the next episode, that's all I got to say. I'm done. Peace! Let me do it again. That's so fucked up. Peace! That's it! The f***? I just like lose my train of thought? Alright.